G'day everyone and welcome to another episode on the River Styx server. How are we all today? I hope you're all doing good. It's good to see you all and I'm very excited to be here. And I'm getting lag straight off the bat. This is fantastic. Let's give me 2 seconds. Okay, the lag has gone. Alright, so today we're going to start off back in here. So in the last episode we built this little furnace array over here with the cactus farm above. Now the cactus is just churning away. All these furnaces are starting to fill up. We do have the overflow over here, but that hasn't started filling up yet, which is great. Absolutely great news. Today we're going to build a fuel source. Now you may remember in the previous episode, I've done a little bit of work here just leveling this out. You may remember that if we have a hole, I've lost the hole. We have a hole somewhere over here. I'll dig it back up. All right, we have a hole over here, which is the hole that we are going to use to introduce a fuel source into that building. Now, which fuel source are we going to use, you might ask? Well, the answer is bamboo. So over here in this entire area, this big, empty, big plot of land over here, we may even carve a little bit of this back as well, that although it looks nice and I was thinking about doing a park, it depends how it looks in the end. I may have to carve some of this back and we may have to just relocate the bee farm. But essentially, what we want to build here is I'm going to build a stadium. Every city needs a stadium. So we're going to do a football if you're in the UK or 90% of the world, a soccer stadium if you're in places like Australia and America and so on. We're going to build a stadium here with markings on the ground and everything. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the ground how it is. We're then going to use we're going to carve bits of it out, replace it with sand, and that's going to be the white paint that marks the ground normally. And the reason we're going to use sand and grass is because we want to be able to plant bamboo on it. So this is going to be an automatic bamboo farm. And the way it's going to work is that we're going to build this giant stadium. Once we build up the walls and that of the stadium, we'll paint the ground so that we have all the markings for a soccer stadium. Then we'll plant the bamboo and we'll build some flying machines that are going to fly from one end of the stadium all the way to the other end and back. And they'll just keep doing that over and over again. And all the drops will get picked up by hopper minecarts beneath. And they're all going to get dropped into this hole right here. Hey, Spider, how you going? All of it's going to end up getting shot into this line here. Now, once it goes into that line, it'll be fed into the back of this system over here, where you can see we have already had some bamboo cooking. Oh, some bamboo? Let's try that again. We've already had some cactus cooking, and we've got a couple of stacks of it that have cooked already. So let's get straight into that now. I'm going to jump into a time lapse. I'm going to have the help of the amazing spidered watermelon. We're going to build this big quick bamboo farm. This is not going to be a quick farm at all. This is going to take a long time. We're going to build this stadium out. This whole episode is just going to be dedicated to this stadium, and hopefully, if we have enough time, we'll build the bamboo farm as well. Otherwise, the bamboo farm may be a second project on another episode. We'll see how we go. But let's get the stadium built, and I will be back very shortly. See you soon. Alright, so I'm up here on Golem Towers. I just want to quickly let you guys know about some stuff before I continued on with the time lapse. First things first, Spider Watermelon is online. You can see his little face up in the top left corner. That's just because we are in a group chat on the proximity mod, so you can see his face, my face. It's really cool. We've got that installed on the server now, and that should add to some shenanigans. So we started planning out this stadium, and we've realized it needs to be a lot bigger than what the space we had planned was. So we originally had it planned to fill this area in here, but it was just going to be this really long, narrow, weird looking stadium. And we've settled that this is the minimum size we are willing to make it. So I'm going to tear this road out here right now, and I'm going to finish marking it up. It's basically, I'm marking up where everything needs to go. If you look over here, you can see some high sections. Those little high sections are marking out certain features on the outside of the building. It's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. So let's jump into that time lapse now. But in that time lapse, you're going to see us rip out this road and then build this wicked stadium. And I will see you shortly. ladies and gentlemen, I present to you River Styx Stadium. This is one of my favourite builds that I've done all season. Oh, this thing looks so awesome. All right, so let me quickly just walk you through what I've got here. Oh, we've got so much to do. All right, so first things first. All right, as I mentioned before, I had to remove the street from the middle of the road over here because it got in the way of the stadium. The traffic lights I've pulled over a little bit as well, just to accommodate for room. I will be cleaning up this mess, but this technically isn't finished yet, so we'll get to that. As you come down this street here, you can see the stadium is completely centered, and from whichever angle you come from, this thing is just massive and grand and mega. Now, if we park ourselves up on the apartment roof over here, there's probably one of the better views of the place. So you can see the whole stadium comes up, has a little bit of a scooped over roof. We've got these giant light towers that Spider and I built and designed together. This whole thing was built and designed by Spider and myself. We sort of winged it with the stadium. We knew the dimensions we wanted, and we just sort of figured it out as we went. A few other little things, like we added all the end rods to the roof and things like that to make it mob proof, but also it sort of helped to make it look a bit more curved so it wasn't so blocky. We've got the lights hanging off with the steel bars. We've got more lights hanging off the roof of the stadium over the sides here like that. So if you're someone down here playing a game, you'll be looking up, you'll be seeing the lights staring at you from all directions. Personally, I think this place looks so much nicer at night time, but yeah. And and you've got 2 tiers of seating. And now it doesn't matter where you sit in this stadium, it's always a good seat. All right, if you sit up here, which is the top tier of seating, all right, you can still see. You get a good view of the ground. You might miss a tiny bit that's going on right on the very edge, but that's about it. But no one's ever going to be in here because although I've built this incredible stadium, guess what? It's just the whole purpose, the entire purpose of this stadium is so I've got somewhere to put my bamboo farm. Oh, there's going to be a huge bamboo farm right in the middle here, right where you normally play. That's going to be the bamboo farm. Now, one thing I have done as well is, apart from the fact that I wrote out River Styx, and of course, the most important, Sim, on all the stairs, this is actually Spider's idea. We've put glow lichen on all the staircases in between the seats, and that actually makes the entire stadium, or the entire seating of the stadium, mob-proof. So we're not going to end up with a big mobby audience at some point throughout the future. Now, this bit, obviously, we have to still paint out the lines and all the rest of that stuff. We'll get to that later on. But there's a few other other bits that we need to do first. Now, we've got the wall off to the side here for the just so we can get into the back. As you can see, it's quite a lot of room back here. All right. Now, if I fly down the other end real quick, you can see I've dug out a huge hole, and apparently I didn't light it up. Okay, I'm going to have to come back through here shortly and light it up. You can also see the beacon sticking out. I've got a ton of redstone that needs to go down in here, basically. But we'll talk about that in a little bit later. First thing I want to do today... The first thing I did today was a time lapse. I'm stuck. Which way is out? I've got to find the way out. There. Okay. But what we need to do first is I need to figure out exactly where on here the bamboo is going to go. Because I can't go all the way over. We're going to have basically bamboo growing... So bamboo will grow up, and it will grow up to 15 high. Now the stadium to the wall up there is actually 16 blocks high, okay? So what it means is that when it's at its absolute tallest, it will fill this entire stadium. So we want skylight, so we'll probably go like this point will be like the furthest out that we'll go. So we'll leave a few blocks between the audience and the bamboo. But also because we have to have flying machines going back and forth to chop off all the bamboo, we need to make sure that we've got plenty of room for those to go without basically picking up all the stadium seating as it goes along. So we can't have it basically sweeping through and sweeping along here as well. So we need to have a bit of a gap. So first things first, what we're going to do next, I'm going to clean up this mess that we've got in the middle here. It's not too bad. But we're going to dig all this up so that we can put it all back again. So we're going to dig all this up. We're going to go down this layer. And then we'll go one layer lower. Yes. Okay. So we've got to dig out the top 2 layers down to here. This layer will all get rails, which will have minecarts running on them. And then we can put the grass back on top. So let's do that now. We're going to build some rails. Now, I did some testing. I've done some testing in a creative world. When this is running at full capacity, let's say that we haven't harvested and it's all just grown to full height, we're going to end up, when it goes for harvest, with approximately 12 shulker boxes of bamboo being harvested in one hit. All right, that means in about a 30-second period, there's going to be suddenly 12 shulker boxes of bamboo, which means I need minecarts that can handle it, that can keep up with it, and can just get all the work done. So that's a nice little fun task for me to figure out. But I've got to figure it out. I've got to get it done so that we're not producing too much lag on the server. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little, over this side over here, ignore the back of the bee farm. Just pretend that that's not there. Pretend the redstone isn't there. We're going to be rerouting that, so don't stress. That'll be gone. So if I dig down, or if I dig through here, you can see that giant hole that I showed you before. Over this side is where we're going to trigger the flying machine. So the way it's going to work is if I'm standing on a pressure plate, then the flying machine will work, and it will just keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, when we do that, it's going to have a timer, so it'll be like, let's say, hypothetically, every 5 minutes, it will go across and back. When that's happening, it's not going to be picking up 12 shulker boxes every time. It'll just pick up maybe half a shulker box at a time or something like that. So it's really just, we have to have that extreme amount to cover us when we first start. When we first start it up after it's been left off. So I'm gonna do that now. I probably, yeah, I'm not gonna time lapse it. I'm just gonna do it, and I'll be back in just a second. And the stadium is almost done. So I used some glow lichen around the edges to sort of mark out where the edges will be. It also helps to light up all the seats of the stadium so that nothing can spawn. There's also some lighting underneath here if we have a look up on underneath all the chairs. So if you were sitting in the stadium watching out, you got the nice lighting above you to keep the stands all lit up, but you've also got the pitch up there now. Now you might notice that we can't see any of the stadium lighting that you saw in the previous clip. You can see one over there, that's the big main one, and you can see the brackets here and the framework for the other ones here. You might be thinking, why has Sim built a cloudy sky or a clear blue sky with a few clouds on it above the stadium? That's a fantastic question. And the answer is that I mentioned in the previous clip I was doing the railroad. And the answer is quite simple. I mentioned in the previous clip that I was doing the collection system beneath us. And I've got it over here. I can sort of show it to you over here. We've gone through. I had Spidered Watermelon and Whaley Gems both came online and gave me a massive, massive, massive hand with this. So what we have down here is we have the collection system. Now, I've broken a little bit here because there's actually some redstone that needs to come through. So I'm going to have to make a few tiny little changes around here, but I'll get to that later on. The way that this works is basically down that end over there, when the flying machine will launch, which I haven't built yet, it will start launching. As it launches, it's going to start triggering, it'll start a timer, which will then run all these, and they'll run for a certain amount of minutes. All their items will come down here into the water streams and come across. Now, if you are making these water streams, let me show you a little trick that Spidered Watermelon just taught me tonight. I did not know this before. But you know, normally you put like a sign or you put some sort of button or a sign or a pressure plate, usually a sign or a pressure plate against the wall or maybe a slab. You can actually use glow lichen in the same way now. So just one of these little blocks here will stop the water and it won't get washed away by the water. So you can just put them there and get these nice clean looking waterways, and you can even put one on the back wall there to stop the water from going down the middle. So I would have removed this roof, but I've got some god shears, you know, efficiency 5, things like that Spider Watermelon made me, and I've broken them. So I could just make more, or I could just move on to the next thing and I can deal with this tomorrow. All that stuff down there I did on stream. I had to do this as a bit of a spoiler wall. I basically enclosed this entire place in sand and and a roof so that, you know, people couldn't see the stadium while I was working in here on the dirt. Most of you guys were probably watching that live stream, and I probably got surprised. Like, well, you'll recognize it. Let's be honest ourselves. So I've got to go through and do that, clean that up. I thought I'd make a nice cloudy sky so it wasn't just plain and boring and just dirt or something like that. But now what we're going to do is we're going to pop down here into this giant hole down here, and we're going to make some redstone. Now, I'm not going to bother explaining it to you just yet. I'm just going to jump straight into it, and I'm going to go do it. Once it's done, I'll come back and I'll explain all the different parts of it to you so you understand how it works in case you want to build something like this in your own worlds. But before we can do any more here, we have to head all the way back to world spawn. Now, I could take the nether, but I quite enjoy the scenic flight, to be honest with you. I get to see a bit more of the world and see all the neighbours around me, like Fajiki, who's got his amazing base over here, inspired by Grian's barn from, Grian's barge from season 6 or maybe 7 of Hermitcraft, season 7 of Hermitcraft, and I want to admit, Fajiki's done a much better job of it than Grian did, to be honest with you. I just absolutely love this place. Then, of course, you get to fly past the Christmas district, which is always fun, but it's not Christmas, so we're going to bypass that. But if you haven't seen it, go check out my episode. Shameless plug. Okay, so we are here at World Spawn. Now, I haven't really shown this off on video, but I should probably give you guys a little bit of a tour of this place. Over here, this is the World Spawn. So basically, we've got a bunch of starter crops here. So if anyone's like brand new to the world and they join the game for the first time, they can come over here and they can grab themselves some potatoes and carrots and wheat, get themselves started. There's even some eggs being laid constantly here by some chickens. And there's a bunch of other stuff as well. Hey, Meatloaf's over here. I see you. So right here we have a wishing well built by Lucian Landwehr. So what we've got here, a wishing well. A signed diamond thrown in might grant your wildest wish. The wish has to be on the diamond, rename it with your in-game name. So basically, what we have to do is we get a diamond, we rename it. I've even brought my own anvil because he hasn't supplied an anvil, but that's okay. So we're going to stick a diamond on there and we're going to write a wish. Okay, so I couldn't quite get it on one diamond because it can only put so much text. So I'm being a little bit cheeky. I wish every floor inside my hotel was decorated. Hotel wishes from Sim. So we're going to chuck both these diamonds in here, and hopefully our wish comes true. So we got that and that. It goes into the wishing well. There's a hopper down there to pick it up. Lucian will come through at some point, hopefully, and clear it out, and he'll go, oh, that was Sim's wish. Let's see if we can somehow make it true with magic. Who knows? We'll see. But if it comes true, hey, I won't have to decorate my hotel. So let's hope for the best. Alright, I've just made some new super shears, rock, paper shears, efficiency 5, mending and breaking. Alright, let's head back over to the stadium and remove this roof. Much better, much better. Look, see, now the roof is all gone. I may have gone through shear perfection, which are the shears that Spider Watermelon made for me. I've also gone through rock, paper, scissors, and now I'm up to rock, paper, scissors again, and still almost broke them. So it was 3 sets of efficiency 5 shears to destroy that roof, and maybe it wasn't the best idea. Maybe next time I'll just do it out of grass and dirt. Now, the next bit, this is a beautiful stadium, okay? I think we can all agree the stadium looks fantastic, and it is a stadium fit for a football team, but not much of a stadium because there's no paint on the floor, and it's not much of a bamboo farm because there's no bamboo. So what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be building the flying machines. Or I say next, but I've already done it. What we've got here is we've got a flying machine. Now this is just one half. There'll be another one on the other side of the field here. But essentially what's going to happen is we're going to have bamboo planted here. All right, we'll trigger the flying machine. The flying machine will fly across and it will harvest just the second layer so that the bamboo still has a shoot on the bottom, but then it'll trim everything above it. All of that bamboo will fall to the ground and then that will trigger off the minecarts. Now, once it gets to the other end, it'll turn around and it'll just come straight back. That is a perfect little system to harvest all the bamboo that we're going to get. Like I said, we're going to have 20,000 bamboo from a single harvest. it's going to be pretty epic. And this is going to harvest all of it, or actually 2 of them. There's going to be one here, and there's going to be another one about here, and they'll just basically go across, and just like a big combine harvester. But as nice as this is, I think that I don't really want to be looking at a flying machine around this place. Like, this stadium looks amazing, right? I absolutely love this stadium. So why do I want to be looking at a flying machine? That's where this comes in. Let's just jump into a very simple time lapse in replay mod to truly take in the beauty of what I've created here. And I'll be back in a second. So we have a flying machine to harvest our stuff, to harvest our bamboo. I think I keep saying sugarcane. If I am, I'm sorry. And then once it gets close over here, the seats will just disappear. They'll drop down. The flying machine will go in. It'll dock. It'll turn around on this side. It'll turn around instantly every time. And then it'll just do the last bit of cleanup. And that's just to sort of get, and just in case anything sort of fell on top of other bamboo and things like that, it'll be able to clean it up. And of course the bamboo will start growing again anyway, so it'll get 2 or 3 pieces anyway. Probably a little bit more than that. And then it'll sort of come back. And it parks itself away, and then the seats close back up. And it's like it never existed. So if you fly past here at any time, you're never going to see the flying machine unless it's actually doing some work. Alright, now let's talk about bamboo. Now, I've just grabbed some bamboo from my bamboo farm that I currently have. Now, I say bamboo farm, it's literally just a patch of grass outside of the hospital over here that has some bamboo on it. It's nothing crazy. I come through here with my sword and I just break it and I harvest it and I pick it up. Look, it's nothing special, but it does give me about 20 stacks of bamboo each time, which is plenty for whenever I need things like scaffolding or things like that. But it's definitely not going to cut it as a fuel source. But it's a great source for me to now have some bamboo that I can plant in my field. So let's have a little talk about this wonderful thing called bamboo. Now, bamboo can grow to a maximum height of 15 blocks, but not every one of them will grow to 15. So if I bone meal that's not too tall. That's quite a short one. All right, do the next one. I never actually realized the bottom one goes that little bit thicker. Interesting. So you can see each one is that little bit taller. Or, sorry, that slight different size. Now, if I just do a few of them here real quick, we'll have a quick look at them from the outside. Now, what you'll notice is the stadium's only the inside of the roof, which I'll show you in a second. So that's only a little baby one, that one. So the inside of the roof, that section of the roof there is actually 17 blocks tall. When this stadium is completely filled to the brim with bamboo, this entire area is just going to be filled all the way up with bamboo. So people flying over probably won't be able to see too much, but they will still be able to see the markings on the ground, and they'll be able to see the harvest when it happens. When the harvest happens, that's when it will reveal the real stadium. So let's just quickly, I'm just going to quickly pop over and I'm going to build out I'm going to paint out the lines and build out the goalposts ready for our harvester. And let's just, while we're here, let's just harvest this. Let's see how much these 6 pieces of bamboo grow in the time that it takes me to mark it all out. I'll see you in a sec. It's now finished. We have a soccer field, or a football field. It's fully marked out and all the rest of that. Now, originally I was going to use sand on all these blocks so that we could plant the bamboo on it. But with 20,000 bamboo, I've basically figured out it will drop us from 12, by using the wool instead, it will drop us from 12 shulker boxes of bamboo down to 11 shulker boxes of bamboo per harvest, but it will actually help us get less lag. So it's not all that bad. Now I won't bother explaining with too much detail how all this works, because it can be quite complicated, and I know that a lot of people are very bored by redstone. So I'll just keep it really simple and try and explain it quite simply. That button there, if I press that, it will launch. It'll open the door, and it will launch the flying machine. And then the door will close on its own. Then, as the flying machine goes over that observer, it will trigger the door to open, and it will come and park in here. Now, there's a little bit of a circuit up there, and those pistons that just fired in front of those observers will turn it around and tell it to go the other way, and then the door closes on its own. There's a big delay circuit down the bottom here, you can see, and that just makes sure that the door stays open just long enough for it to come in and go back out. When it comes back home to this side, it will go back over this observer, which will trigger the door to open again. It will come in and it will park, and it will just stay where it is. That obsidian right there stops it from going any further, and that just basically turns the machine off. Alright, once this opens, again, there's a delay circuit through here. You can see just there, you can barely see it, it's that orange line there. And that delay circuit right there will actually make it so that the door is open for just enough time for this to enter, and then it closes right behind itself. And that's pretty much it. Now, once this is parked, again, when I press that and it launches, all it does to launch it is it will extend that piston, and there's another one over that side. And when they extend, you'll see it happen here. See it bang. There's a little bit of a delay, and it does a double fire. I'm going to change that so it only single fires. But there's a bit of a delay, so the door opens, and then the pistons fire, and that's what launches the system off. And that's just going to go and do its thing now. Now, as far as the door itself, the door is just connected to either slime or honey blocks. And then it's just got, this is actually just whole nother flying machine. This whole segment here, one flying machine. This is the second flying machine. And as soon as it triggers, it flies straight down. It crashes into the pistons that are open. It can't push open pistons and extended pistons. And then it'll sort of stop and it'll wait there. And then when these pistons close, it tells it to go back. It's that simple. Now, the next thing that we need to do is over this side over here. We've got this little green line here. I'm probably going to change the color. But this green line here is what sends off all the minecarts. So in last night's live stream, we basically set up this system over here that launches all the minecarts. And if I just use this button for a second, you'll see that they get launched 2 at a time. And the minecarts will pick up all the bamboo and it will drop them back off over here. Now, at the moment, they're just parked because the system is turned off. When it's running, these will run for a certain amount of time, and all the bamboo will go down in here, and then it will launch through and flow through into the system we have over there. So we've got to put a delay so that we wait until this is about a quarter of the way across the field before this starts, and then we need to leave it turned on for just long enough for the minecarts to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Until they've collected all the bamboo, and then they can shut down and they can all park up quite nicely, ready to go for next time. So let's go do that right now, and I'll be back. Okay, so we are all done now, finally. Now, there's only one very last thing I need to do, but I can't do it until the bamboo's finished, and I'll do this when it's off camera. But basically, the way it works is simple. If I stand on this pressure plate, it will just constantly run the system, but it will only send the flying machine out once every 20 minutes. Now, I've roughly worked it out. 20 minutes seems to be about half the growth of the bamboo. So it means that it'll be less laggy when I am sitting here AFK if I do need to bulk them out. While I'm standing on that pressure plate, the way it simply works is that if I just chuck an item on the pressure plate for now to simulate that I'm on it, it shoots an item out. Now, in this case, that item is an egg. These 2 chickens are going to make sure that this is filled up at all times and make sure there's always eggs in the system. Chickens lay eggs once every 5 to 10 minutes, so by having 2, it guarantees we're going to have at least 2 eggs every minute. That egg will sit there for 5 minutes, and then it's going to despawn. When it despawns, alright, it will automatically shoot out a second egg, and so on and so forth. Now, over here we have a little bit of a counter. That will keep going. Every 4th egg, it will trigger off the flying machine to go out and come back. As you can see, the flying machine still isn't back anyway. Now, while that's going on, this line here, as soon as the flying machine is triggered to go out, it launches this line here, which has the same system here with the chickens and the eggs, and the eggs drop, and the egg drops on this pressure plate. Now, this pressure plate, the way that this one works, I think I just picked it up, but that's okay. This pressure plate, all it does is it triggers all the minecarts to go off at the same time, and they run until that egg despawns. So basically, it means that every time we do a harvest, we get 5 minutes of harvest before it ends. So that's it. Now, I can put a bit of a delay in this line easily enough. All I need to basically do is add some repeaters or something along those lines, and then I can decide how long after that launches it starts launching the minecarts, and that's the last thing I need to do. But the second last thing I need to do happens through here. There's still no bamboo. This is the worst bamboo farm ever because it doesn't even have bamboo in it. So let's go fix that right now, and let's bamboo up the bamboo farm. All the bamboo is now in and very slowly growing. Like I said, I think, and I haven't done a proper testing of it or anything like that, but I think it takes around about the 30 to 45 minute mark, somewhere in that region, for bamboo to go to full height. So if we're just in the area, you can see, if you're just looking, you can constantly see different ones growing. And it all comes down to the random tick. It randomly ticks on different bamboo. And if we're in the area, they're just going to grow anyway. And we're always in the area. This is the middle of our whole base right here. Like, even the basement's right there, so even that will load. If we're in this whole area, this stuff is loaded, and this is going to continue to grow. Of course, it won't harvest until I actually stand on the pressure plate, and away it goes. So, if you'd like to watch this getting harvested, you're going to have to tune in for the next episode, because that's all I've got time for today, unfortunately. So, I'll see you in the next one. See you later.